Hi, John.
Hey, can you hear me?
Hold on.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. That's all I needed. I'm hosting this evening, so I needed a little tech support this afternoon to make sure that this was going to function. So we may encounter a couple of hiccups here and there, but we'll persevere. So let's see. We have 1, 2. So we have a quorum at 7:30 or a little past. So I will in place of Lori's not feeling well, so she's not going to be on tonight. So give me a little patience as I try to juggle folks who might be in waiting rooms and things of that sort. Let's see. Okie doke. And welcome to the June 28th, 2023 Dover Conservation Commission hearing. And following the guidance issued by the governor regarding the open meeting law, this public meeting will be held remotely. And individuals wishing to participate may do so by using Zoom video conferencing technology. To join the meeting by video conferencing, use a computer or tablet or phone, and please use the link that was on the agenda that people had access to via the town website. And obviously anybody who's hearing this already did that. So with that, why don't we open up the hearing, and we'll continue our notices of intent. And first on this evening's agenda will be 65 Main Street. And Janet, can you update us on that, please? It looks like you received everything you needed.
That's right. At the last meeting, there were just a couple things that we needed to be able to close and issue the order. We did receive all the information, and just a reminder to the applicant and their representative that all revised information should also be going to DEP.
Okay.
Again, they've met all the regulatory requirements. We have the revised site plan we requested. So I am recommending approval with 7 special conditions, including both of our signage and permanent bounds. And then everything else is pretty straightforward. The monthly progress reports, stockpiling outside the 100-foot buffer, reestablishment and stabilization of all disturbed lawn areas upon completion of construction, and then our standard filter mitt, compost sock, silt fence, and orange construction fencing. They have added that to their site plan.
Okay, excellent. Does the applicant have any questions? Okie doke. Then I will entertain a motion to close the hearing.
And that's a good one, John. Because I usually
I know.
So
Just
Amy or Anna, do you want to do the motion?
yeah, we don't want to. Let's keep Sarah with just
My
just
role.
seconding. So Amy, would you like to make a motion to close the hearing?
Motion to close the hearing.
Second.
There you go. I was just going to say, sorry, you have one
No,
job.
no, I got it. I got it.
So, great. Thank you. All in favor? Anna,
Aye.
Amy,
Aye.
Sarah,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to grant the order of conditions, based including the special conditions noted by our agent.
Move to issue notice of intent
Or
for
the order conditions?
the order of conditions for 144-897 at 65 Main Street with all the conditions as outlined by Janet.
Okay,
Second.
thank you. All in favor? Anna,
Aye.
Sarah,
Aye.
Amy,
Aye.
and I'm an aye as well. Okay, So is it David? Is this your property? David Chase? Oh, I'm sorry. Can you unmute?
It does.
Huh. Oh, you're still muted. Actually, is this your property? You can just wave if it, okay, great. Okay, then we'll let things go by. I just want to let you know that Lori's out. I'm not sure she'll be in tomorrow, but you can contact her on Monday, and she'll let you know the status relative to a signed copy that needs to be recorded before work starts. Okay. Okay, great. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
All together now. Okay. Let's see. Then moving on, we have 130 Farm Street in terms of raising and rebuilding an existing barn. That's 144,898. Again, Janet, your review mentions that you've received everything that you feel is necessary.
That's right. We had asked for just a couple small revisions. We've received everything. In my opinion, they're in full regulatory compliance with the bylaw and the regulations. I recommend approval of an order of conditions with 7 special conditions. And that includes our 2 regular signage, but not the permanent bounds, as we discussed at the last meeting. Because the open pasture, a good part of it is wetland. They are going to maintain that as a wet meadow or a pasture. So permanent bounds really wouldn't be applicable there.
And the fence will prevent things moving beyond that. Okay. Richard, Kurt, any questions concerning this? Okay.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Okay.
Thank you, Janet.
Okay. And thank you for your completed application there. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
Move to close the hearing.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Anna?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. And entertain a motion to grant the order of conditions along with the special conditions as noted by the agent's regulatory review.
Move
And
to-
actually, I'll just because why don't you just, Sarah, if you can just second that?
Oh, sorry, second.
Okay, and we'll just rather than going through because we have a limited number of commissioners tonight, so.
Right. Okay, sorry.
Okay, so that has been, that's seconded. All in favor? Anna?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Okay, so as I mentioned, the previous one, if you just contact Lori when the recordable copy will be available, and we'll all be going in probably early next week for signatures. Okay. Thank you.
Not till, is the townhouse open on Monday?
Good
4th of July.
question.
I bet it's
have
probably
no-
not gonna be till the 5th. I bet.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think anything's gonna happen till the 5th or 6th.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Next week would be tremendous, honestly.
Okay.
That's
So we will-
well within the 21 days.
Yeah, so well, that's true. Yeah, we'll work on that, and then Janet, we've discussed this before. The ability to start prior to a 21-day waiting period. We've historically allowed people to do so at their own risk in case somebody comes up with a complaint for that or an appeal. What have we been doing recently?
Well, we certainly need to have the order of condition issued and signed. So, and we do have 21 days to do that. And then
Okay.
there's a 10-day appeal. So we have the 21 days to issue it. So
Mhm.
it does have to be issued before.
Mhm.
any
Before
work-
you have that start.
And then the 10-day appeal period, DEP really does not like to see work beginning until that appeal period has proceeded.
Mhm.
So
Well,
Um,
hence we tend to try to get that, those signatures, that sign form out as soon as we can so that your appeal period does not linger. So I check on the 5th with Lori and see where we stand on that. Okay.
Great.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you very much. Have a
All
good
right,
evening.
thanks again. You too.
Let's see, 118 Claybrook Road. Has that received a DEP number? Yeah,
No, unfortunately, I did email DEP, but I haven't heard back from them.
and is that, do you think they're reviewing something because it's close to the river, or that seems to be taking a little longer than normal?
I don't think so. I know from the owner that the check was cashed before the last meeting. And it's
Mhm.
been on the website, on the NOI lookup site. So it's just been there.
But not without, but without a number.
There aren't any comments, I don't know.
No,
So
okay.
hopefully I'll hear back from Alicia.
Okay, then unfortunately, we'll have to continue that.
Yeah, I know.
And if you can just send a email request to Lori for continuance, please.
Okay.
And then 143 Dedham Street, Amelia Farm. And do we have anyone here for representing them this evening?
No, so they did request a continuance. Mark Cooper
Okay.
spoke to him.
Mhm.
They have had the stormwater review by town engineer. I think are still waiting for a written review. And then they still have some work to do with regard to the wetland stormwater report due for us. So Mark,
Mhm.
that really the ball's in their court to get everything we need.
Okay, so then we'll go ahead and continue that as well. And then we'll move on to a continued amendment request for 4 Haven Terrace. I noted, Janet, in your regulatory review, you were stating that you didn't think they'd given you enough information to address the 1-to-1 replication or the 1.5-to-1 replication, as noted. And yet part of the concept of this amendment was to basically to waive that or to discuss the historical context of that lot. But before we get there, I'm also reviewing, did we get any proof of a butter notification within 300 feet yet?
I did email that over a little while ago.
Go ahead.
The one thing, so as you know, when Artie from Cheney requested the abutters list, he mistakenly asked for within 100 feet. So that's the original abutters that I sent it out to. And then Janet pointed out that it needed to be the 300 feet. So Artie requested that from the assessor's office, and we didn't receive that list in time to give the notice. But I realized that I had a list from March that I had received with the 300 feet of abutters. So I did notice the remaining people that hadn't made it in the first batch from the March list. So
did you get cards back on that, or?
I sent out certificate of mailing. I emailed it over to Lori and Janet.
Okay, when did you do that?
Did you do that?
Sorry,
When did you send that? I haven't seen that.
it's in your email now.
When
It was
did you?
a short time ago.
So today?
Yeah, I emailed Lori earlier to make sure that that would be okay, and I was hoping to hear back from her, and I didn't, so I sent it over.
Okay, so she's been out for the last for the week, the last 2 days.
Okay.
So Janet, do you have access to your email, or?
So do we have the certified mailing from the post office showing all the addresses it was sent to?
I'm not sure what
Yes,
Deb
well,
said.
So you have the certified abutters list within 300 feet. And there were 13 additional abutters, different from the 100-foot. So I sent out the remaining, so you have the receipts for both.
Mhm.
Could you pull that up on the screen, Debbie, from what, and then did you also submit your affidavit of service based on that new certification?
No, I didn't do that yet. I wanted to make sure that you were going to be okay with using this March list. You know, I don't know if you have a certain time period that you require it.
Go ahead. Well, the letters that went out, did they specify a hearing date on those letters?
Yes,
Okay, so the
They-
ones that went out in March did a earlier hearing date. And,
so March, no, I had requested the certified abutters list back in March because that's
oh, you're
when I
freezing
thought we
that.
were gonna be filing the amendment, but then it took, oh, shoot, I'm sorry. So, I'm sorry again. So I requested it back in March, thinking that we were gonna be filing soon.
Mhm, yeah,
And then it was delayed. And then Artie requested an updated list essentially when we were gonna file, but he did it within 100 feet.
right.
So we couldn't get the list in time from the assessors for the 300 feet.
Mhm.
So then I remembered, hey, I had a list for
Mhm.
300 feet from March.
Mhm.
So
So then you
I
sent
did
out,
notify those additional abutters.
okay, so when you're saying additional abutters as opposed to, so you
So the
notified the
100 foot, there was only, I think, eight
Yeah.
abutters that needed to be notified.
Mhm,
And the new list has,
13.
it had 13 additional.
Mhm.
So
And
a
so you did-
total, yeah, there was a total of like 21 or 22
So you
abutters.
notified all of them or just the
Yep.
13 extra?
So everyone has been notified.
Mhm,
The first 8 were for the last meeting.
mhm,
And then the rest I sent out that included for this
Right.
meeting.
For this meeting.
Right.
And my question, Janet, is, and Deb, when you send those notices out, do you refer to a particular meeting date in the notice?
Yes.
Okay, so.
So
you
the
can cer-
previous group, the original 100-foot group, were
Mhm.
interested, I'm assuming that they would have joined the last meeting and heard that we couldn't discuss it because of the abutter issue.
Mhm.
So I didn't feel a need to re-notify them.
And it
I
would be
just
treated
notified the additional.
so it'd be treated as a continuance
Right,
for them.
correct.
Seeing that I don't have an issue with that part of it. What we're looking for is and you have some proof that you emailed to Lori
Yes.
and
If
not
I
to,
pull
and
up so you can't go into your emails, Janet?
I think she's concerned about losing her Zoom call. Is that correct, Janet?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Concerned
do you
about
have-
what? I'm sorry.
Losing her Zoom call that they might.
Yeah, I'm kind of concerned about the same thing if I switch over.
Okay.
I can hold
Well,
it up.
That works. Take it up
Okay.
close to the
So
camera.
this
There we
is
go.
the
We'll go analog here.
300-foot abutters list.
Uh-huh.
Can you
Yeah.
see that?
Yeah.
And then these are the receipts so there's 6 on this page.
Hmm.
Sorry, hold on. 6 on that page. There's, sorry, 1 on that page and 6 more on this page. So a total of 13
Hmm.
went out for.
I'm for the sake of expediency, as well as the fact that Lori was not in to receive this, I am okay to proceed with that. Does anybody have any? Does anybody think otherwise?
No. Okay.
So
Okay.
now we know that notice has been done. The question we have is, and did you have a chance, Deb, to read Janet's review?
I did, and I actually called Paul for some clarification.
Mhm.
Because in the amendment, I mean, I think I did a good job of quantifying the different areas where we were
Mhm.
taking credit and where we were planning on doing replication and such. And for the 792 square feet, that was filled for this particular project, we have more than 2 to 1.
So I
More
guess
than
I
2
think
to
one of-
1.
let me
yeah.
just clarify, because I don't want to, I want to address everything head on and not try to skirt things.
Yep.
As I understand, the original situation, we understand that this was with a builder who was trying to get to expand the size of the house on a property that had been filled over the years, so the course of years. And in agreeing to allow them to do that and move the right side of the house closer to the wetland, that builder agreed to basically remove a fair amount of the fill that had been put in over the years. And I think that was over 3,000 square feet. Is that correct?
Yes.
And okay, so that then during the course of events, that builder, under, I would say duress, I'm assuming, but I don't really know, the property changed hands to a different builder. That different builder took on all the same promises and the order of conditions that the first builder had, and proceeded to build the house. I'm not sure if the house was built and not finished. I don't know really what the status was, but it changed hands. That builder was still responsible for this. And then that builder appears to have misrepresented what was necessary in terms of cost and scope to the homeowner at their closing. And I think technically what we're looking at is the homeowner then has inherited this and was responsible for doing everything that was outlined in the original order conditions.
Mhm.
And is asking us to give him some compassionate dispensation on this. And because of the circumstances, when his legal recourse really is the builder that he bought the property from, and possibly his own attorney who accepted a low price for escrow. Does that kind of bring us up to a certain date in terms of awareness of what the history is here?
That's what I understand, yes.
Okay.
And
so
the
now,
homeowner, I also notice is here as well, if you have.
yes, I see Duvaldes here. So then Paul went out and met with you.
Yep.
Janet and I went out and walked the property as
Mhm.
well. I think I walked it again with you, maybe without Janet. And
I've been there many, many times.
yes,
Yes.
and I outlined certain areas that we talked about creating a contiguous lower portion of land so that we would address some of the fill that was put there.
Correct.
And that and then there was a discussion about some of there had been a garage there that had been built on filled property. The
Mhm.
garage was removed. The soil samples brought the sort of tendrils of wetland, showed it coming up much closer to the house than the original lawn.
Mhm.
There was an agreement there that's what went into part of the total amount of square footage to be adapted and restored. And then when we were out there, we saw a wildflower meadow, primarily goldenrod there, that seemed to be creating some habitat value there.
Mhm.
And then it looks like what you've come in with for an amendment is, and this is where you can tell me if I'm correct or incorrect, seems to be around 1/3 of what at least maybe even a little less than 1/3 of what the original order of conditions was. And we're probably on that crescent that we talked about next to the wetland, that looks like it was scaled back from our discussion on site there. So given all that, Janet,
I don't think it's been scaled back since our discussion.
well, I think we sort of paced around it, and it seems a little small than what I recall, but I'm just bringing that up, and you can address
Okay.
that.
Yep.
Janet's review seems to be holding, and Janet, tell me if I'm reading this correctly. The amendment request here is to actually go for amend things so that they can indeed get by with putting in a smaller restoration area, as opposed to where you're looking at 1:1 or 1.5:1 replication, which is what the original order of conditions was looking for. So we know that by requesting an amendment, they're by nature looking to have a smaller restoration than what the original order of conditions. Am I correct in phrasing it that way?
Yeah, so I'd like to give you a little feedback in terms of both my call with Paul and also someone at DEP. So I think we all sympathize with the situation that the homeowner has found themselves in. I'm sure it was a surprise about how much replication had to be done. That being said, the order of conditions was based pretty much on the Wetlands Protection Act. And we do need to follow the 1:1 replication under the Wetlands Protection Act. The commission can issue waivers under our own bylaw, but we cannot issue a waiver under the Wetlands Protection Act.
But this was previous fill though, Janet. This is,
So
you know, it's
can I finish, please?
certainly.
The feedback I've received in talking both with Paul and DEP is it doesn't matter when the fill occurred. The order of condition was proposed by Goddard. It was a very complete NOI. It addressed what was best for the wetlands, and that was a certain amount of replication based on existing conditions. I think that Paul indicated he had his mother passed away recently, and he was not able to review Deb's amendment completely. I think in this case, I would recommend that the commission hire Paul as a third-party review at the applicant's expense. Paul was the initial reviewer, and I've gone back through the file. He had about 10 different memos.
So the homeowner has already hired.
Well, excuse
Paul.
me, Deb, can we just let Janet finish? And
Sure,
then,
but
and
it's
then
kind of odd because
but I will let you.
Paul's already
you know,
working for the owner.
Yeah, but we'll clarify all this. I just want to have people move sequentially so that we can make sure everyone's properly heard, and that includes you. So no worries. Go ahead, finish up, Janet, please.
It's my understanding that Paul has been hired as a third-party reviewer by the commission at the applicant's cost. So Paul is not working directly for the owner. That would be.
That's not true.
Well, let's because we did, I believe I don't know whether we paid Paul or if the applicant paid Paul the last time. Okay, so Janet, you're saying in your discussion with Paul was assuming that he was still working for the town. Is that correct?
He had some meetings on site and very informal discussions with Deb, I believe. He has not reviewed the amendment request that is currently before us at this hearing. So I would suggest moving forward to do our due diligence that we would hire Paul as a third party to be paid by the applicant to really review this. But again, it's my understanding the order of conditions confirmed that there had been a certain amount of fill. That was well documented. It doesn't matter if it was done for the initial project or for when the other home went in. But regardless, I do think this needs more formal review by Paul, and that would be my recommendation tonight.
Okay, thank you. So Deb, you mentioned that you've been discussing things with Paul. There seems to be some confusion.
So
with
the
this.
recommendation, I don't know, this is kind of convoluted. So I was the wetland scientist that was putting together this amendment and doing all the site visits. So then it was suggested that the homeowner hire Paul to review the amendment before I even submitted it, which he
Mhm.
did. He dropped off money, basically hiring Paul to review what I was going to be submitting. So I sent it to Paul, but he wasn't able to review it before your
Mhm.
guys' deadline for us to
Mhm.
have something in because of
Mhm.
deaths in his family.
Mhm.
So I submitted what I had without Paul
Mhm.
being able to look at it before
Okay.
and I've had several conversations with Paul about how he's looking at this and
Mhm.
his advice and whether he thinks what we are proposing meets, what his vision
Mhm.
is, which it does. So
Mhm.
when I saw Janet's comments yesterday about us not needing the 2-to-1 and all of that, I called Paul and said, I'm confused at this point because we've had this discussion. And
Mhm.
so his advice was to mitigate for the 792 square feet that was called out for this project. And meeting with you and Janet on site, it seemed as though, the area where the garage was removed is now considered wetland. There's another area within
Mhm.
that meadow that is now
Mhm.
considered wetland. I met with Paul and we looked at the existing conditions, the trees, and honestly, a lot of the vegetation within the upland area is wetland vegetation at this
Mhm.
point. So we
Mhm.
would only need to lower it by 6 inches in order for it to become a replication area.
Mhm.
And to do all of that work and, really just mess up that area in order to just lower it 6 inches to call it a
Mhm.
replication area doesn't seem to meet the interests. We're trying to meet the interests. It's a forested area now. It has, vegetation, and we're also going to be removing all the invasive species on the entire lot. We have a replanting plan, and we're really looking at what the existing conditions are today.
Mhm.
So to go backwards and try to, remove trees and lower the land for this old 3,900 square feet of disturbance, it doesn't make sense at this point. And I think that it does meet the interests, and I think that's what we need to be looking at, not the letter of the order.
Mhm.
That was additional mitigation under your bylaw that you were requesting. Or that they proposed, that God had proposed. And we're looking to amend that because of the existing conditions. I mean, the garage is gone. That's now wetland. That was part of it. That they needed to create wetland there, and
Well,
nature's
it's
kind of
now,
doing it
it's
on its
meadow.
own. No,
It's
where the
goldenrod is.
where the garage was is
Mhm.
wetland. Where the meadow is the front area where their lawn encroached. So those are two
Oh,
separate areas.
I thought the garage had been up a little closer there.
No, if
So,
you want to look at the plan, we have it
and was,
marked out.
well, and so just let
So when I
other
met on
commissioners.
site with Paul, he helped me delineate the area that we wanted to use for the replication area, how it made sense. We don't want to cut down trees in order to
And
lower it 6 inches.
when was that? When did you meet with Paul? Was that under his guise of being paid directly by
Yes,
DeWalt? Okay,
yes.
so it would probably behoove us to have Paul, everyone's gone through the trouble of having Paul review all this. It would behoove us to have Paul speak to this. I just wanted to let commissioners know, I've encountered this over the years, as a developer. And I think what we've seen here is we're trying to balance, saving the village by destroying it,
Mhm.
type of thing. That, we do have that. Which is why we recommended that there be an amendment submitted for this. My concern, Deb, with your amendment was it wasn't really clear to me the other 2,800 square feet that you were looking to not have to do anything on based on the original order of conditions. of outlining a little bit more clearly why that was currently helping to meet the regulations there, or meet the intent. And I know that
The
when we met on,
interests.
I
Mhm.
know that when we met on the on site, we discussed all that. And it just didn't come across to me clearly on the amendment. What I saw was the focus on the 792 square feet, but
Mhm.
this was a 3,000 plus square foot adjustment. And I didn't see anything that dealt with why that was changed, and why that was that you're basically setting that stuff, that extra square footage aside. There
I just
wasn't
felt it might be easier to explain during the meeting, which I just did, I think, as far as the
Okay.
interests and the existing conditions and why are we destroying in order to lower an area for 6 inches.
Okay, Janet, you had your hand up?
Yeah, so I just wanted to clarify a couple things. The first is that I'm not recommending a 2-for-1 or even a 1 to 1.5, but the amount of replication was over 4,600 square feet.
Mhm.
So it was a sizable amount. But I do think that we certainly want to be reasonable, and we don't want to overburden the homeowner. We want to do what's best to allow that wetland area to really completely recover and be as healthy as possible. So I think Paul knows that area pretty well. I was a commissioner. I do recall looking at this, and we talked quite extensively about the requirements for replication. But I do think there is room for a reasonable waiver under our replication bylaw, which is a 1 to 1.5. But there has been no formal waiver request, so that would also need to be part of the amendment. If the applicant is requesting a waiver from our replication requirements, they need to make that argument as to why that is in the interest of the wetland and meets all the interests of the act itself.
Mhm.
And in addition, I think it would be really good idea for Paul to get out there, and perhaps the commission as well, to take another look at this. We don't want to make it overly bureaucratic, but we also don't want an appeal. And so I think we need to really take our time to really look at this very carefully. And again, I'd recommend that the commission vote tonight to hire Paul as a third-party reviewer at the applicant's expense to further review this request.
So is this included in the funds that the applicant has already given?
Well, that's a bit of, it's not commingling, but it's confusing, because since
Yeah.
Paul had been working on behalf of the town on a review basis on for the applicant. What was his purpose? What was he hired for at that point? Was it similar
Is-
review, or?
Well, you guys suggested it. So
Well,
that's-
we suggested it under our guise and under our control, that he would be telling us what his feelings are. No, he's not representing the client, he's representing.
No, that's not
the-
how we understood it.
No, we have always understood. That's why we dealt with Paul directly. We got a contract with Paul on this. We got a quote from Paul on this, and then we were not aware of anything that was being handled directly with your client there. But I think we're not going to make a federal case out of it. I
Yeah.
think the thing we want to do is Paul's insight is valued on both parties.
Mhm.
I think things were delayed for basically non-compliance, over the last few years, to continue things to the next hearing, so that Paul has a chance to review that and get us a quick summary. If he, by all stretch, I think it would be very helpful if he can be on the next meeting. The concept of, I don't know if the commissioner is up for doing this, within the next week, I'm perfectly okay with that. I'm not sure that it's, what's involved is a overgrown piece of property that's kind of hard to see. I don't know if we're going to get much out of it, but I'm perfect if it's within Paul's. I think it would make sense for Paul to meet with us out there, in addition to Deb, so that everybody can see that. But I really want to stop having to go back here, and I'm perfectly okay. I've encountered this in other towns. The 1-to-1 ratio, given the fact that this was done over a multi-decade period and we have mature trees in an area, and I have seen attempts at trying to lower things 6 inches below, and the roots get damaged and you create more damage. And so I am perfectly happy if it's proven to be workable to approve something that may be less than that 1-to-1. But I want it to be clear, and I think Paul would be very helpful in clarifying that to us. So normally,
John, are you thinking that we should have a site visit, all of us together in the next week?
well, I think I noticed people nodding their heads.
I mean,
and if-
I'm around. I mean, I know it's July 4th next week, but I'm around. I'd be more
Yep.
than,
Well, I think the idea of possible site visit, well, first we have to check in with Paul to see what's going on with Paul's schedule. Paul is a linchpin here. I think Paul is going to be very
Yeah.
helpful to clarify all this. I don't know, Janet, do you know when his mom passed away?
It was a couple weeks ago, and
He's actually had 3 deaths recently.
oh my God.
you know,
Yeah.
he's actually going to be on vacation. I think until mid-July, when I spoke to him last, he was going to be out on vacation for a
Mhm.
while.
To
But I
deal with
would
all
also just like to recommend to protect all parties, both the Concom and the applicant, that we have something in writing before we ask Paul to do any additional work, that we have something in writing so that there can be no misunderstanding as to who Paul is working for and what the terms are of that work. And then we also need to know what's left in the account that the applicant had deposited money in, to determine if there's sufficient funds in that or if we need additional funds. So I don't think we need to rush this. I think we just need to make sure, that we're sort of covering all our bases here.
Okay. Dewald, do you recall how much Lori had asked to be put in the fund? Was it 1,500?
John, I think it was 1,500. I don't really know for
Okay.
sure, but I think it
So
was
we'll find
1,500.
out. I'm hoping that Lori will be in. Well, she only has tomorrow for the week, but I will check with her. But I think Paul's initial quote might have been around 1,100. But again, Lori handles that paperwork. So I will reach out to Paul. Janet, do you know, is Paul on vacation currently, or is he going to be?
Well, the 4th is coming up, so I
I
can't.
spoke to him in his office yesterday, if that
Did
helps
you?
at all.
Okay.
He
Then
answered
tell
his
you,
office
I
phone.
will play Lori tomorrow, and I will give Paul a call and see and get more of a confirmation on his schedule. So why don't we do this? Because I think Paul's very instrumental in all this. I think it will help on both sides here. And I think you're hearing from us that we are looking to be flexible, but we want to be able to justify our flexibility relative to the pertinent state laws, since we're already looking to we've already stated that we're looking to give you some flexibility relative to our bylaws. So let's do this correctly. This was, this took several years for us to get here. I will call Paul tomorrow. I will find out what his schedule is and what's involved in moving
and he's
forward
got,
on this.
to John, to your point, I mean, he's got his, the history behind this whole thing. I mean, he's
Yep.
been.
No,
first
so I mean,
foremost,
we all have history behind this, but I think we had originally contacted Paul, and he'd come through in terms of reviewing this.
Right.
I think didn't know that he had been hired directly. Regardless, it is what it is. We're going to move him back onto the footing where he's dealing with us relative to our oversight. I'm sure he can be, and when he does that, he can be helpful to the applicant as well. So, because that's the way he is in terms of he has a keen insight into reality. So he's not. So why don't we do this? Why don't we continue this to the next meeting, and we will see what we can fit in prior to that relative to Paul's review, and whether if he would be around for a site visit. And then we can email folks if we can fit a site visit in, and let's get the right paperwork in terms of third-party review and things like that. And we do know that we're like I mentioned before, we don't want to destroy the village to save it. I'd like to see Deb, and probably with discussion with Paul, probably a little bit better comprehensive narrative, that rather than showing us, and I think a site visit would be helpful, but I'd like to see a paragraph that outlines that concept, that these trees some of these trees are 30 years old, and and that didn't come across to me quite as clearly. And then let's continue to move forward on this so that we don't have it linger. Okay.
Okay, I
so-
did, I forwarded Paul the plan and the amendment yesterday, so.
Okay, good. And I will, let me just pull my calendar out. I will attempt to contact him tomorrow and see where he's at. And then I will, talk to Lori. We'll get the emails out to everybody so that we're all on the same page. And if we set up a meeting, that we can all be there. Okay.
John, and I just want to say, I really
Sounds good,
appreciate.
thank you.
Okay. Go ahead, Dual.
Yeah, I just want to say, I firstly apologize for dragging this thing out so long, and I really appreciate the Conservation Commission's effort with this. We're willing to be flexible on our end. We certainly don't want to stand in the way of conservation in any way. There was just really two things that I didn't really understand: cutting down the big trees in order to reduce the grade back there. If it is meaning more plantings, we are more than happy. And I did tell Deb, if we need to plant more trees and more shrubs, we're happy to do that. And we would just want to see this thing closed as much as you do. So appreciate it.
Yeah, and I think a site visit may be helpful, because if I recall, I'm going almost with a sense of recall that there were a couple of trees that might have to come down in order to create that crescent area that I mentioned. And at the time, I was okay with that because it still gave us a larger restoration area that was contiguous, so that if a couple trees came down to create that larger area, but you still had a bunch of trees that stayed, and we didn't have the full restoration, that might be a decent compromise in order to balance the needs for the act being the Wetlands Protection Act. So it doesn't mean that we don't cut anything down, or that it's that flexibility of seeing what's going to give us the best balance. Janet?
The other thing that the order required and that has not been done is submittal of a deed restriction.
So that's supposed to be for the COC though. And we're still at the amendment stage. And
Actually-
assuming this is going to have monitoring for a couple years, it specifically says it's for the certificate of compliance.
I will look at that again, but I
Mhm.
believe it was part of a condition. It wasn't subject to the COC.
Well, I think because of the flexibility inherent in the history of this, I think putting a deed restriction now for the current orders of conditions, when we know that we're going to be changing them, and the order conditions is on record there, and the new buyer, not so new anymore, but the new buyer was aware of that. It was brought to their attention at their closing, so it functioned the way it was supposed to. I think it would be better to create that deed restriction based on any amendment that we approve going
I
forward.
agree. Right.
Rather than cluttering up a chain of title with that sort of thing. And so I have no problem with even if we may incorporate something into the amendment that requires it then, as opposed to upon the COC, but let's I don't think it serves any purpose right now for the deed restriction because it's already clouded. So okay, so let's move forward on that, and I'll contact Paul, and we'll get some dates out to everybody. Okay.
Great, thank you.
very- Thank you.
Deb, if you could forward the signed affidavit of service, that would be great.
Okay,
Thank you.
I'll send that
Thank you.
over tomorrow.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you much.
All right, thank you.
Okay, let's move over to, let's see, I have, before I go on to the next thing, I see Joan Roth here, and I didn't know if Joan's in front of us for anything specific, or if, I didn't know if, where she wanted to be in this, in the meeting. Joan,
Joan,
are you,
Joan's the abutter to 25 Miller Hill.
got
So
it, okay, okay.
Oh,
thanks.
okay.
Okay, so what I see, let's see, are we addressing 25 Miller Hill?
I was gonna say, we're not-
Oh,
we're-
under the agent's report.
Oh, okay.
Well, Why don't we
I was gonna say that.
why don't we
Sorry,
address
John.
that rather than having Joan wait all the way to the end? Why don't we just skip ahead to that, and why don't you give us an update, Janet, please?
Sure. So you'll recall we issued a determination of applicability for 25 Miller Hill. The neighbors attended that, including Joan. They were very concerned about stormwater runoff. Interestingly enough, that the Saturday after our meeting, we had 3 inches of rain in about 5 hours. And she had sent photos to Joyce and also to the town engineer with concerns about the impact on the water going into a catch basin and then into a stream. Joyce responded on behalf of Dave Parrish, who apparently still is involved in the project. She had indicated originally that he wasn't, but he apparently is. I did forward to everyone the mitigation measures that they've taken, which is increasing their erosion control. They're monitoring the silt sack in the catch basin, and they have committed to putting erosion control over the driveway at the end of each workday. I'm not sure if they're doing that. Joan would know more, but they seem to be taking the stormwater runoff concerns more seriously, and have been submitting regular information to us.
And Janet, did after that 3-inch rain event, did you happen to? Somewhere I remember you mentioning that the silt sock or the erosion control for the basin itself seemed to be doing its job.
So that was before our meeting and before that very heavy rain.
Okay.
And I have not, so our jurisdiction is only in the first 100 feet. So it's really Mike Njeri who enforces the stormwater bylaw and the NIPD's permit. And so he has said he is going to be going out and monitoring that more closely.
Okay. My sense on that as well is that since we've had an event before, they are trying to prevent it from happening again. But since we know that there's the potential for this to go into the stream, it would seem that we have a little bit of jurisdiction there, even though that stream is beyond 100 foot, because it seems to go in there. It's like the gentleman who had the dirt pile on Farm Street that was well beyond 100 feet from a stream. We had a rainstorm and a wall of silt went 100 feet through the woods and into the stream. And we then had him tarp it and control it and so forth. So I think it would be it'd be good for us to just be in the loop there, because it's so that at least on a weekly basis, either you or Mike is getting out there to make sure that things are being handled. I saw something by, I don't know if it was between Dave Parrish and Joyce, or if it was some, but something where Dave basically said he was trying to pay more attention to making sure the landscapers were closing that up at the end of every day.
Yes. I make sure this is Joan, I make sure they do it too, because
Oh,
it's like
good.
they say it's a temporary driveway. It's the
Mhm.
second driveway on the property for the landscapers.
Mhm.
So I make sure that they put the erosion control back. And they did a significant amount of work there, like immediately on Monday after that heavy rain to try to keep. And there actually is grass growing now.
Okay, so you're
They-
feeling that there is progress being made to prevent this from happening again?
Yeah, so I think, the rain that we've had this week, and it's actually raining now,
Yeah.
it seems to be manageable with what they put in place right now. And
Oh,
it's
good.
only going to get better because they have planted some, like, they planted some trees. They did quite a bit of work trying to, manage all
Okay.
the fill that they put there.
Mhm.
And also that they didn't realize, or Dave Pearson, that the drain that is in the middle of the property, it does directly flow into the stream.
Well,
Dave
there's a
thought it
drain,
was,
go ahead.
yeah,
He thought it
Dave
was just
Parrish
a
thought
catch
it was
basin?
a dry well, and it's
Uh-huh.
not. And I showed it to him that it
Mhm.
flows, that pipe goes right on the other side of the road into the stream.
Wow.
So,
Okay,
muddy water from the front of the property that flowed down went into the drain, into the stream. So it was going into the stream in two different places.
Got it.
So,
okay, well,
But-
thank you very much for the neighborly update, because that's, it certainly sounds like he's paying much more attention to things now. Would you
yeah,
agree?
I'm hoping that, with the landscaping that's going to happen, that everything kind of stays in place and doesn't get moved around. So I'm keeping my eye on it.
Okay, well, no, that's great. And David has been communicating a bit as well, giving us updates. And I think now that we have the town engineer involved, so multiple eyes, it sounds like it's an improving situation.
Yes,
So
definitely.
thank you. Thank you
I
very much.
appreciate everybody's help and work, and yes, I think we have to keep our eyes on it for sure.
Thank you,
Thank
Joan.
you.
Thank you,
Okay,
Joan.
thanks, Joan.
Yes.
Have a good evening.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.
So Janet, I think that raises an interesting point, which is if somebody has a catch basin in a property that's more than 100 feet away from the wetland, but has a pipe going directly to the wetland, that's kind of treated the same way we would treat somebody's downspout discharge, I imagine.
So that is a conundrum under the WPA.
Mhm.
That you have to wait until there's an impact
Mhm.
outside the buffer to the buffer or resource area before you can make any requirements. So,
Okay.
it's kind of a catch-22, but
Mhm.
in normal conditions, the silt sack would be doing its job, but it was overpowered by the amount of water we had.
Mhm. Mhm. Well, and
Let
that's
it-
why we've been asking them to do all these things. So it sounds like we're possibly, well, things are certainly better than they had been. So, we'll just, we'll communicate with Dave, and if you can interact with Mike Angieri just to make sure he's getting what he needs.
I'll put on my site visit list. When we have a heavy rain, I will go out there and take a look at the conditions before
Okey-doke.
we get that. Yeah.
And I'm just gonna take my attention away for a moment just to make sure I call Paul tomorrow. So give me just a moment.
You're gonna write yourself a note, call Paul.
I am writing myself a note because my phone is my brain. Okey-doke. And let's see.
Enforcement orders is next on the agenda.
Yes. let's take a look here. So,
Pretend
let's
it's
move,
Lori.
yeah, let's move back to 12 and 14 Miller Hill. And if you can give us a status update on that, please.
So those orders went out on, let's see, the two order conditions went out on,
Oh, no, the enforcement orders.
yes, is that our topic now?
Yeah, no, you mentioned orders of
Yes,
conditions. I
Yes,
think you just.
yeah, no, we
did a-
moved
did a
back up
verbal
to
flip.
enforcement orders.
Okay. Those were mailed out on the 20th. And they were given 2 weeks and a deadline of July 5th to submit a restoration plan. But that really is too short of a turnaround for what we've asked them to do, which is do the delineation and also a tree inventory.
Mhm.
I got an email late today from Brian Nelson, who has been hired by the owners of 12
Mhm.
to do the delineation.
Okay,
And he asked, oh, can we meet you out on site next week? So my suggestion with this situation would be similar to 4 Haven Terrace, in
Mhm.
that I think that both from a cost point of view and also an expertise point of view, I would recommend that we bring Paul on as a third-party reviewer in
Mhm.
terms of enforcement action, with the cost to be borne by the violator. But again, we need something formal in writing, so all parties understand exactly what is being asked to be done, and then what the costs are.
So the only issue I have with that is, given what Paul is, what I'm hearing is that Paul may be on vacation and may not be back till the middle of July. And I'm not sure if we want this to linger. I'll check with Lori. I don't know if we have another fallback person who can review that. Does anybody come to mind, Janet?
I'm comfortable reviewing it, but I know there's been, John, you've had concerns about the budget for my work.
Oh, no, I absolutely got that. And the concept is, we can't have you bill somebody directly for something that is basically somebody else's fault. And we have a limited budget relative to what we can pay you. And absolutely, I get that. It makes sense to get a third party in there. My question is, do we have an alternate third party that comes to mind if Paul's not available?
So Paul has a very well-qualified team.
Oh, actually, his office, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so I know he's got several folks who know Dover pretty well. So I would think
Okay.
if he's not available, someone else from his office would be.
Okay. Yeah. No, I think that's. Thank you. And
I'm fine with that. I think
yeah.
that
So,
sounds,
let's see, regarding 12.
But
Okay, and I think that makes sense, and that's keep in mind for us, well, we'll see when the delineation comes in, but for us, on 12 and 14 themselves, it appears to be 25, maybe 30 feet away from the on the outer, it's 70 feet out roughly from where it appeared, where the wetland line had been. So we're looking at the outer 30 feet involved in the buffer in terms of things being cut in the buffer. It doesn't appear as if anything was actually cut in the wetland itself. Over on 36 Farm Street, that looks like it was cut closer to the buffer. But we'll find out with review whether it seems like it's relatively stable, vegetation has grown up and so forth. So I'll contact Paul or have Lori contact Paul and get timing and pricing for a review there.
perfect.
Let me think on other. I just wanted to bring up turned out didn't need an enforcement order. There was Jim had called in, and Janet had asked if I'd take a look at 89 Wall Street. There were three loads of gravel that had been dropped off there, and they were to the rear. I don't know if people know, that's the house that's next to the old Fryer house. It was Joe Fryer's house, and they put that very close to the wetland. I stopped by, I spoke to the owners. They got it because they were going to take down a bunch of invasives in the front of the yard and fill in a depressed area there. And I noted that he couldn't keep the dirt there, and that he'd either have to move it, which he has a John Deere, or face an enforcement order. And last night I went by, and he did, he accelerated his timeline there, and everything was moved. There's no need for an enforcement order. His little depressed area in the front is filled, and everything looks lovely. So that's very appreciated for that. I also did point out, since he had been here when we did the house to the right of that was built by, I can't recall who that was, but it was the one where they had quite a slope in the backyard, and we had an extensive order of conditions to take care of some of the old remnants of the pump stations that had been there, and pointed out that all the things we discussed there also applied to his lot, so that he now knows that he can't put anything over in that neck of the woods. So that's just a quick update on potential enforcement orders. Let's see. Why don't we take a look at, actually, why don't we finish the agent's report, and then we'll go back to the other things.
Okay, I don't know if we keep deferring the minor modification criteria and guidelines. I don't know.
I think, did you resend that after the last meeting or the meeting before that?
I have not resent it recently, but I had sent it a couple times.
Yeah, I know it's frustrating, Janet, that yeah, we've been trying to handle many things as you are aware of, given what you've been reviewing lately. Can you just refresh our memory what the minor modifications, what are the major parts of the minor modification that stick out to you that we should be paying attention to?
Well, the main thing is to have some criteria, so when people come before us, we can evaluate it.
Oh, right.
Some minor modifications are in fact, 10 minor modifications that add up to cumulatively a potential impact on the wetlands, and something that's be reviewed as an amendment. So this is an effort to kind of draw that line. Like, when is something significant enough that it needs an amendment, or can it be a minor modification? And then also,
I think one of the questions there, and I don't know if you provided or not, was examples that that come to mind over the last few years that might be might come under this. Did you? I don't know if you had a chance to mull that over and
yeah, I
put
think
anything in writing.
at the last meeting, I haven't had time to put it in writing, but we can certainly talk about that, and I can bring up some examples. The one I brought up was 2 Raleigh Road, which that was a minor modification, but it was sort of on the border. They wanted to expand a driveway. They were putting in a retaining wall. So the criteria is just something that we can use and give to applicants as to sort of, this is what our thinking is, and this is the information we want from you to help us make a decision. And they are based on the town of Ashland. They're based on the town of Ashland's, and they've had this for a number of years, and they said it works very well.
Although Ashland also does not, what's any idea what their no build area is? How, because for years they allowed things much closer to wetlands than we did. Do you know if they've changed that?
Oh, I don't know what their no disturbance zone is. I think they have smaller lots than we do, so I don't think it's 50, but.
Yeah, I seem to recall somewhere around 25 feet or something at one point, but okay, can I ask you to resend that so that we have it higher up in our email list?
Okay.
so that people can try to get through it bit prior to our next meeting, please.
And I think Anna had a question.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I would love to see us start somewhere and then maybe modify in a few months if it's not making sense, and just get the ball rolling. So reviewing it next meeting sounds good. I
Mhm.
just think we do better have something rather than, have it be kind of on the middle priority forever.
Yeah, and I think, well, I think I was trying to get clarifications for examples. I think that was Raleigh Road was a good one. Because my concern is somebody wants to add 20 feet to their deck and a propane tank. I just want to make sure that we, that I really don't want to burden people with something that's minor. So I don't know how many minors we have involved in this. So I'd like minor being minor and then minor, and then, something moderate, or whatnot. I just would like to get, make that easily clarified so that we're not confusing people by issuing that. So let's see.
And then.
So
the-
yeah, we'll have that sent. And then were there any updates on the tree preservation committee?
Yes, so we had a meeting last night and we consulted with the planning board and have decided to sort of take a little bit of a swerve in our
Mhm.
approach. DPW, under the MS4 federal stormwater permit, has to revise the town stormwater and erosion control bylaw.
Mhm.
And that was supposed to be done already, but we've gotten an extension. In talking with Kevin McCabe, he's open to putting in some tree preservation requirements as part of that.
Mhm.
And so our thinking is that that would be a better first approach
Mhm.
rather than a standalone tree bylaw that could get bogged down in specifics.
Mhm.
So keeping something fairly simple. So we have to make decisions like, well, what size diameter tree do we want to regulate? And what percentage, how many trees as a percentage of the lot come down that would
Mhm.
require review? So I just wanted to update you, and I think that the tree committee will be asking for a meeting with the full commission to get our feedback and
Mhm.
how things have worked for us under our regulations. So just an update on that.
If I can just add to that. So at one point when we were cutting trees down, we wanted to cut trees down in Dedham Street across from Strawberry Hill. I assumed that I went in front of planning board because of scenic road stuff, and these trees were basically what would you call them? They're just there were formerly weeds that turned into trees because no one did anything. The highway department hadn't kept them at bay, and then they got bigger than 4 inches. And I thought it was self-evident that they weren't, that they had just gone up because no one was paying attention. And I think Carol Lisbon at that point, the planning board had been dealing with a number of people who had been coming and cutting trees like that, and they had just kind of had it. So she actually turned us down because I didn't give that much of a presentation because I thought it was self-evident. I'd circled the trees and I pointed them out. So I came back to her with the presentation that we expect people to show us relative to the 50%. Basal height, diameters and all that, and gave her the full presentation. At which point she said, we spoiled it for everyone else who was going to come behind them, because we showed them how we do it. And they seemed to really, well, they appreciated it and they also approved it. But it's also something that I think I read through the tree report that was done by the I can't remember the name of the school that was helping the tree committee, and that was several towns do have a 50% layer there, and then other towns that only take a look at trees that are 10 inches or wider, and other towns even go up to 20 inches and wider. So it's a good report. I don't know if it's on, Janet, do you know if that report is on the tree committee website yet?
I believe under the planning board, it should be there. There should be a link to it. Yeah.
Okay, so it's 150 pages or something, lots of drawings, but it was interesting. It outlined a number of different towns. And of course, we still seem a little separate from all that, but I think the biggest thing is taking a look at it relative to large trees along a street side. But there's also some recognition that wholesale clear cutting is not necessarily the best way to proceed. But I think trying to get into the middle of somebody's lot would be a harder issue to prevail at a town meeting than starting, like Janet mentioned, and dealing with the rights of way. So so fingers crossed. Let's see, is there anything else, Janet?
Yeah, and the
For,
last thing, I just wanted to let people know, they probably have seen that 20 Farm Road, that 24 acre parcel is on the market. Mary Crane is the agent. And I've had just a couple neighbors ask me, are there wetlands on that lot? Because apparently there is an out-of-town developer who
Mhm.
is in the process of making an offer on that for a subdivision.
Mhm.
I don't know if anyone else has heard anything.
I haven't heard anything. I think it's, yeah, so it's down the street from me. It's the Boylan's property. And it's, the sign says it's 26 acres. So,
And do you recall, is there other
The
wetlands
sign
in the
says
back of it?
23 acres but if you look at the assessors, it's 24. The back of it is all wet. I
that's more
don't
than,
know whether they have a Army Corps easement. I do not think it is under Army Corps easement, but it's certainly
that-
got a lot of wetlands
but I
related
was,
to that.
but Amy, isn't there the whole total of the property is like 100 acres? Or like close to 100 acres?
No, the whole property is 2 lots. One is 20 acres and the other's 4.
Oh, okay.
So
Sorry.
where's that relative
And,
to?
I'm going for
actually-
the lore. I'm going for the lore of some huntsmen.
Well, because it's connected to the Lesser McCoy Channing CR property, which is over 100 acres.
Yeah, as well as Dominic Rousseau to the left. Exactly. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And where is
so
it
I
relative
mean,
to?
I don't know as I've ever been on any trails on that property, but I don't think any of the trails from Channing go into there. I think
No, we don't.
go
but-
up
but-
to
but-
the to the
Exactly.
railroad tracks from.
But in the past, the hunt used to go through that property. So,
It's
Mhm.
possible. Daniel Boylan owns one of the lots that's not got any road frontage, and that's the 4-acre lot, and that's contiguous to and kind of part of behind the one of the Lesser McCoy lots, and then his mom's property, she died this winter or in the fall, and her property's along the street. I think it only has road frontage for one, for 2 lots, but I've looked at so many road frontages lately
yeah.
that I can't,
okay, so.
don't quote me on it, but I think it is only 2 lots. It doesn't,
Okay.
it is mostly, what's dry is mostly fields.
Mhm.
So,
Is that to the right of, probably a year or two ago, we had somebody moved into the house next door and they were pulling up the driveway and
Yes,
doing things of
they
that
got in
sort.
trouble, they got in trouble with, they had an enforcement order down their driveway, yes.
Right, and the
Yeah.
son, this Boylan's son is a landscaper, is that right? Got it, okay,
Correct.
so I see,
Correct.
so I pulled it, so there is, right in the middle of it, there's could even be a vernal pool, I don't know, there's a wet, GIS is showing a wet area. And then to the rear of that is Trout Brook actually goes through it, and then there's an attendant wetland that goes up probably a quarter of the way into the lot there. So
That
there
could
are,
Right,
be,
and-
that could be going into the McCoy lesser property.
But
So-
the
Between me, if you're sorry, I mean, I don't mean to keep talking over you, but if you're looking, John. If you look at my house, there's the McCoy Lessers is to my left. And
yeah,
that's what we call Channing Pond. With,
yeah.
and then.
So are
next
you
to that-
32? You're at 32, right?
Exactly.
Okay, yeah, and so then, yeah, to the left of you, and then there's a conservation restriction on the back part of that lot and also along Farm Street to the left of McCoy there, and then you come over to 20. And then 20 has the continuation of the stream that goes behind your house comes right through the bottom portion of 20. And then there are
Exactly.
wetlands that go up almost to the middle of the lot. There's some areas there, they basically, unless they hug to the, close to the street, they'll be jurisdictional.
Right.
So, and yeah, actually, let me just see. So from the street to the wetland, well, no, actually, it's a good distance. From the street to the first wetland is around 650 feet. So they have a fair amount of space there to put, put houses in.
right, I mean, basically the
Boylan.
wetlands and the tree line, scrub line coincide, and then the stuff that's fields is not wetlands.
Yeah, and well, and it all slopes down there anyway. So
A lot.
they'll- Yeah, so they're, and then a subdivision will lead to the doubling of setbacks. So it's really gonna have to see what they come up with for their delineation.
Well, it's
And,
interesting. I always thought that, I knew that the Lesser McCoys had 100 acres. I always thought the Boylans also had 100 acres, but I guess not.
Mhm.
They only have 23.
Right, and then let me just see if I can get down to behind them is, oh, Lesser. Okay, now I'm seeing why you responded to that. Yeah.
Right, so the
And-
Lesser McCoys are like right, they're the ones that are right next to
Yeah,
me.
and theirs is a 103-acre lot.
Right.
So,
Okay.
so anyway, we'll keep an eye out, and if anything gets started without us, we'll just make sure that it's legit.
So John, sorry, to circle back, where's the wetlands at the Boylan's property? The property that's being on the market right now, the 23 acres.
Boylan's property, they have two buildings up in the front. And actually, let me turn on the aerial imagery.
Yeah, they have a house and they have a barn and their whole like excavation companies down in the back.
Right, so where
Right.
there's like a house, then a carriage house,
Yep.
a little bit way further down, and then there's a larger building with the
Why
the
don't you-
equipment.
Why don't you share screen, John? That makes.
Well, I'm not, because I'm on
Doesn't
a
matter. No,
different.
I
You
I'm
want
on
me
a-
to
I'm on a
share?
diff- I'm
You
on a
want me to
different
share
com-
mine?
I was on a different computer. Well, I don't think, actually, until things move any
Right,
further, I don't
exactly.
think there's
We don't need to,
any
we
need
don't
for
need
us.
to have any.
It's,
Yeah.
it's all the wetlands are way to the back of the property.
Yeah, there appears to be one in the middle that's probably, let's take a look at the distance from it. So it's 150 feet from the barn, okay? And and it's pretty much right in the center of the property. It's not that big of a,
That's interesting that
Yeah.
they have a wetlands there, because I would think that in the past they would have had horses in that paddock. So why
Mhm.
did it become,
well, the paddock was,
Oh,
yeah,
no,
that's
it's all,
dry.
yeah, there's all the fields are dry and it's grown up where the wetlands is, where this this spot of wetlands that's in the middle is all forested.
Yeah,
Okay.
If you look
And
at the
actually,
aerial.
you can
I
see,
don't think of it, you know,
but it's an interesting thing that came up because when we reviewed the driveway next door, but this is actually sort of a duplicate behind the house there. There are farmer trenches going across to drain that wetland, and it goes over to a pond. So there may be
Oh.
wetland vegetation along the trenches. Although we actually didn't see any when we were on the other property, but there is a wetland, like Amy said, it's forested, and they'll just have to work with whatever they get there. So but we're aware of, that what's there. And then farther down, there is definitely a wetland that bulbs up into the property off of Trout Brook. So the back half of the lot is of no use, probably 6 to 7 acres is of no use for development.
that's,
The field that's 0. That's
Yeah.
part of the property too. That's the,
That
that,
has a conservation restriction on it.
no, the one that's along the road does, because that belongs to
Oh,
Lesser McCoy's, but
right.
the field, that's the lot that's behind that's also
Yeah.
0. That belongs to Danny Boylan.
Okay,
That's
So
part
they-
of it. That's why it's 23 acres and not 20 acres.
got it. So that might get them a little farther away from the wetland that's down at the base there.
Yeah. That's
And
the unfortunate thing. I mean,
Yep.
the unfortunate thing is most of the property is already fields, so it's
Yep.
pretty damn
So it's-
easy to develop it.
yeah, but not it's a 2-acre zone. Yeah.
Yeah.
It just depends on what they come in with, and if
Yeah.
it's a lovely place for 40B, I imagine. So
oh my God.
okay,
John, don't give me a
let's see.
heart attack.
I just wanted to touch
God,
base
my
on a.
God.
I think we can't, I think we are exempt from 40Bs for a couple of years, so they may
Oh,
not wanna
okay.
wait
Okay, well, given what
because
things,
of Red Robin.
it's a really nice piece of property for several very nice houses if they don't try to maximize everything. So it depends on what they, do you know what the sales price is?
4.8.
4.3.
Yeah, so that's
That's not
doable.
that much. Yeah.
No, so that's, somebody they could squeeze 4 houses in there without really affecting anything. And if they do it with some design sense, nobody would really be the wiser. So we'll see. Let's see, we have on our, so minutes, Janet, did you have a chance to annotate minutes? I didn't see that.
I did not.
Okay,
No.
no worries. No
Hey,
worries. And
We'll push it back till the next meeting.
well, Janet's it's been really busy, and then you have a busy week coming up. Is that correct?
That's right. My daughter's wedding is Saturday. So
Yes. So, we do not want to, we're fine. We'll move that on. Next is, so I've reviewed and I'll be approving your invoice for May. And that will be coming out of our budget figures. And then for June, I saw that the emails back and forth. I think Lori was actually trying to be nice. She was, concerned that we have a fiscal year coming in at the end and we're supposed to spend, our money. Well, that money that we have is going to be spent on the May invoice. The June invoice, which obviously we won't get till July, will come under our WPA funds. So there's no issue in terms of having that, covered or anything like that. So we'll review it the way we normally would, but and then we'll approve it. But I think her concern was just making sure that things were budgeted properly. And I saw your response, which was absolutely dead on, which is you can't give an invoice until you get to the end of the month. And we have we know what the run rate is and so forth. So no worries there. And so what I'd like to do is make a motion to approve the agent's May invoice for $10,965, which was due to all the submissions that we've had recently. Everything was appropriate in terms of there's just a lot of work that was involved there. So I'll entertain a motion. Oh, that is the motion. Do I hear a second?
Second,
Okay, or any discussion? No, all in favor? Sarah,
aye.
Amy,
Hi.
excuse me, Anna,
Uh,
and I'm an aye as well. Okay. Let's see as we move forward. I guess Lori had on here, we got notice for the hail regarding a treatment. Janet, are you aware of that, or did that just come in, or?
No, so that I was copied on that. So you'll remember about a year ago, we issued an order of conditions for their continued invasive pond management work. And we required some surveys. So they have some additional reporting to do. So I think when we have a quiet period, maybe having them back in to talk about what they're doing out there would be beneficial.
Mhm.
But they are submitting things on time, and I think with the warmer weather, they are having more algae blooms, which is a real
Yeah.
concern in the swim area. So they may have to make some changes to that plan, but I have that on my stickler list, maybe having them come in at some point, maybe in the fall if it's quiet.
Okay, but did we approve their ability to do something for this summer?
No, so they do have a standing order of conditions.
Okay, good, okay. Mhm.
Yes.
Okay.
But there's reporting requirements during that, so it's good for everyone to see those.
Okay, and then let's see, we got a proposal for mowing path behind 46 Springdale, which we used to have done by the highway department, and they basically couldn't do that this year. And so we have the budget for it, but I think next year we're going to try to see if we can get that down. We'll see how much time they actually spend on this. This is a different vendor, obviously, since it's not the highway department, and I think they were trying to cover themselves, but I think they'll see that it moves along faster than they expected. So so we gave them go ahead on that. And then I guess, Janet, do we have a GLM report on 3 Sterling?
Yes, and I think Lori had sent that out to everyone. I'm planning to go over that with Joyce. So I hope to do that, in the next couple weeks to meet her out,
Okay.
look at that report, and then also the report at 6 Sterling. Yeah.
Okay. Great. Is there anything else that anybody wants to bring up?
A couple things.
Well, actually, and I did want to bring up something for Amy as well, but go ahead.
So I had heard sadly that Dave Stapleton's son died.
Yes.
So I just wanted, if
Oh.
you guys all knew him, Trip. The only reason I knew, I was at my gym and I had heard that they were doing a thing at the Legion. So
Mhm.
Dave's son.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, Trip had been ill for 7 or 8 years at least, I think.
yeah, I think
And,
he's been battling colon cancer for a while.
Yeah,
I could
yeah.
be wrong, but anyway, so.
Yeah. So, and then that the Legion, I just got notified today, but the Legion celebration basically happened last Friday, I think it was. So we missed that, but our
Me too.
thoughts are with Dave
Yeah.
and his family.
Exactly. I just wanted, from
Yeah.
him being a commissioner for so long, and I knew Jennifer for years, so.
Oh, wow. Mhm.
Um,
So, and then Amy is, Hale Reservation is doing their push for educating people for their,
It's not just Hale, it's the trustees and Doverland Trust too.
I understand, but Hale is the one looking for the money. But
Yes, we're trying to
they're,
educate people
yeah,
on.
they're working together. So Amy is graciously hosting a education session. Go ahead, Amy, why don't you fill us in?
Right, so it's just an education session to learn about the CR and have a chance in an informal setting to answer any questions, raise concerns. Basically, just trying to get the information out there and also understand what people's concerns are so that we can address them before we get to town meeting instead of having a million-year town meeting where lots of people are getting up and
Mhm.
not understanding what's going on. So we just want to, we weren't able to talk about it and start this education process until after Carol was put to bed. And so we're a little behind the 8 ball, but the town meeting will be in the fall at some point, hopefully in the later fall, like in early November. So that we have maximum time to do this, but anyway, it's finally getting started, and I hope that you'll either come tomorrow night, or we're talking about trying to get the commission to do a site visit, either at Powasset Farm or at Powasset Lodge or one of the Hale properties, so that y'all can actually see Hale and see the pretty ponds that we're allowing them to do their invasives management on and that kind of thing. So that was one thing. The other is I noticed on the Board of Selectmen, and then I forgot
Oh,
to
right, yeah.
tune into the meeting today, that there was a CR amendment to 25 Wilsondale, 25 Strawberry Hill, 25. Anyway, it's the Weiss Peterson CR, and apparently Mona did forward me some more information on it. Apparently it's just to change some wording in the extinguishment clause so that if there's some taking by eminent domain, the money will go to DLCT and not to the Peterson Weisses or the
Oh,
owners
interesting.
of the property.
Mhm.
So what does that mean? So what does that mean? Like, so they're,
So
So
if
it's an
Dover decides to put a
administrative
school
thing
up there.
that apparently the IRS wants done. I
Mhm.
didn't totally understand it because it was kind of late after I had another meeting that I was reading this.
no,
But
that's fine,
but it's always concerning to me when there's an amendment to a CR. Almost always the state will not let you do an amendment to a CR that isn't more restrictive and more advantageous to the interests of the CR, but still, I was surprised that it showed up on a Board of Selectmen
Right.
agenda for a vote to approve it without either conservation or open space
knowing about it.
knowing about it
Right,
at
exactly.
all. And I
holds
would
the
have
CR?
thought like chapter 61 that they would have asked
Right.
us to opine on it.
Right.
in
Who holds,
advance,
who
so-
holds that CR?
DLCT.
Okay. So.
So
the,
that's,
So, I mean, it's just an administrative change. It was more
Yep.
that highlighted to me that we don't have a process for that. We haven't basically told the selectmen that they really ought to be having us look at this in the same way that we don't have a process for looking at extinguishments of easements with the planning board.
Which brings interesting, so I met with,
And we don't
The-
have to do that. The easement that wanted to be extinguished no longer cares because it wasn't an
sold- they were-
issue with
yeah.
their sale.
yeah, they were afraid that it was gonna impact their ability to sell the house, but the house sold in a week and a half, so.
Right, so they don't
Yeah.
care anymore. So we
Right.
have more time to
but
assess our process.
I care it's depending on the easement, is that gonna ruin our trail system?
No. So
Oh,
the
no,
whole
no,
point-
the
the whole-
easement
the
was
whole-
not extinguished
So
because
it wasn't.
it
Yeah,
was not extinguished because
it didn't affect
they-
the sale.
it didn't
They-
affect the sale, and so they didn't care whether the new people are happy to have it there, have the easement on there, so.
Okay, fine.
And
fine.
in like many of the easements back in the day, it dead ends on somebody else's private property. So it would be up to that landowner to let people through. So the easement doesn't really take you
Right,
anywhere.
so it's just like, it's not like, right, okay.
Yeah, although, but that does bring up, so I did get a call, Lori had fielded a call, and I met with the gentleman who bought Brian O'Connor's house. He was aware of the easement.
Well,
This
I
is a-
hope so, since we opened it.
Oh, yeah, no, this is Ben Arthur Way and so forth.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say Ben Arthur Way, I was just thinking.
Well, I
like,
mean, it's
oh my God,
not like
we're going back to Ben Arthur
Ye-
Way.
he
Yeah,
didn't
so-
notice that it was there when
Oh,
he
no,
was.
no, he was aware of it. What he wasn't aware of it was because people were walking over a corner of his driveway to go onto the easement. And I pointed out at some point, I think we had GLM when they found the markers, the bounds and everything. Somebody had punched a nail into the driveway and spray painted it orange because that's actually where, because the driveway was in the wrong location based on where it was supposed to be. People have the legal ability to walk over the corner of his driveway to go to get on the, because that is where the easement is. And he wasn't aware of that. And he was just concerned about people going over his driveway. So I explained the same way I did with Brian, that he could change the paving of his driveway and put it back where it was supposed to be. Or you just cut a little sliver off of it, or he just deals with people going over the corner of his driveway. He was very pleasant. We had a lovely time together, and he's gotten to know most of the people who use the easement. He has occasionally seen horses come up the easement, so it's doing what it's supposed to do, which is kind of
Oh,
cool.
good, actually,
Yeah.
good, okay.
And so, and yet, I occasionally, one of the walks I'll do with the dog is up Pine Street and up Ben Arthur. I go across my backyard and go up there,
Right.
and just so I can use that easement. And he put a couple plants in front of it and a couple stones. So I moved a few of the stones.
So he's
And-
being a dick, he's being a dick.
Well, he just needs a little comprehension about what's going on, and I will, next time I'm on the phone with town council, I will hope to remember to bring it up, but I made it very clear that it was what it was. The bounds are right there. We walked the easement together, which interesting enough, he hadn't. And I showed him where the bounds were, told him what he could do on a landscape basis and on a fence basis. The Murphys on the other side, who were the folks who originally, brought all this to our attention, they're putting a pool in, so they have a fence going down right behind the bounds there, and it's a nice 4-foot pool fence. It's not a big stockade. It's not for privacy, and they've done a bunch of plantings there. And I pointed out that he can do the same thing. But I will also double check with town council in terms of if there is any move to block access to it. Just what do we have any hoops we have to jump through, or can we just walk in there and start cutting things down?
Yeah, we're allowed to maintain it.
Right.
He is not required to maintain it, but we
Right.
are allowed to maintain it.
So Jack London, who lived a few houses away, used to go in and maintain it. I know there's a little bit of vegetation encroachment. I'll probably go in with a weed whacker, or a hedge trimmer or something like that. But and I'll talk to him again and make it clear that he needs to leave that area open. And he was talking about repaving his driveway at some point in the future, and that he would probably move it over a little bit based on that. So he'd asked for I had a plan. I guess I didn't leave it with him that showed that a little bit clearer, and I will go ahead and do that. So basically just a little education session is necessary, maybe several. So the other option is whether based on the town right of way, which is also 10 feet into his driveway. You know, if we have to emphasize the existence of that, you know, we could put a section of post and rail fence on either side of it. But I'll double check that.
We could put one of Tim's signs. The Ben Arthur right of
Right,
way.
right.
Trail-
So
the
it
Ben
is
Arthur Trail.
right. It's a
Signs that Tim has never made. I will, that will be like, so I've been on the commission now for 9 years. Tim has never made a sign.
No, I have 3 of them sitting in my barn. So yeah, and so they were, you know, he got on those.
We haven't
immediately.
gotten them
So-
up, but he's made a
No.
few.
No,
now we
but
have the-
like, that's-
But we have the posts up. So you know, it was up to
no, I've
Jim
seen
was-
the posts. You and Jim have put the post up, but you guys have not put the signs on.
I know, I understand. So we'll, you know, it's you know, it's fallen to us, no question. So the anyway, I just wanted to bring that to your attention there. And yeah, it maybe there are a couple trees that were planted there that are now 8 to 10 inch diameter. One of them in the middle is right smack in the middle where, you know, I actually trimmed a bunch of it, of the lower branches.
He
And that-
planted it.
No,
Or
he didn't
these
know. O'Connor did.
O'Connor plantings.
And it is sparse because the other 2 trees are shading it out. So it could come down, but as a new homeowner, he's a little reticent to, you know, to cut a tree down. But that would solve the problem. People would be able to, you know, would know exactly where they're supposed to go. So I think it just needs a little bit more education. But I also made it very clear that this was fully accepted. There, you know, it's incontrovertible. It's the most clearly marked and clearly documented easement that I have run across in town, and that there is no legal ability to try to shut it down. So
Awesome. Great. That's what
there
we
you
need.
go.
That's exactly. Boom.
Yep. So, but anyway, I did so in a very nice way, and I'll probably knock on his door or, you know, set up another meeting if I see other things showing up in front of it. So are there any other items
No,
that
I
anybody
need
want to?
So Amy, are you gone most of July and August to New Hampshire?
Just on the weekends.
Okay, so I will send out, so Jim, per our last meeting, I will send out an email, like a dual doc or something of figuring out when people can come to, let's have a
Cool.
social.
Mhm.
Full
Well,
social.
they can come tomorrow night to have a social.
Well, you
There's
don't
gonna
wanna
be,
take away-
there's gonna be wine and cheese
Oh, yeah,
tomorrow night.
I didn't want to steal any,
Here
you
at
know,
6:30.
I didn't want to steal Sarah's thunder for her event. So
But
yes.
I'll bring the leftovers to Sarah's.
the well, depend on, you know, August might be a little
Okay, so I'll get some
No.
new wine because I'm sure I'll have drunk the rest.
right. So good. Okay, then we'll look forward to that email, Sarah. And you, Amy, you wanted RSVPs for your event tomorrow, right?
Well, if people are coming, it would be nice to know, just so I know
You have
Tomorrow?
enough.
how
Yeah.
many
Well,
chairs
the-
to put out.
is it tomorrow night or the next night, or the,
It's tomorrow night at 6:30.
okay,
Okay. Great. And it's yeah, the presentation is very helpful. It's unfortunate that the Carroll School ran $6 million over budget because you know, this is only a 10 million ask, and we could have been more than halfway there.
Well,
So,
Not only that, but the original estimate for Carroll was 15 million, and now it's gonna
Yeah.
cost us at least 25. So there's our 10 million right
right.
there.
Yep, exactly. So,
So
Uh,
this one, it won't go over budget. It's 10
there
million.
we go.
and
That's
done.
which
There's no
another-
maintenance, there's no staffing,
There's another
nothing.
little bullet point. It cannot go over budget.
This
so,
will not go over budget, and it does not require a long-term maintenance budget.
Mhm, mhm. So, okay, well, thank you very much, everyone. And
Great. thank you, Jim, thanks, Amy, and I will send out an email tomorrow with, these are the dates, come to my house, have fun. blah, blah, blah.
Awesome.
Great. Thank you, Sarah.
Great,
right.
thanks.
you.
Hearing no objection, the meeting is adjourned. Night,
I think
everyone.
Good night.
Everyone.
Bye-bye.